What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network Weekend Edition. It's great to be here with all of you today. It does take a special occasion for us to get up on here on the weekend, get to work. Gavin, of course, has the sweatshirt on. We are talking today about the Sweet 16, about the men's and the women's leagues. The UConn Huskies taking on Iowa today and taking care of business, I'd say so the least. It was close in the first half, but Connecticut, UConn, able to pull away in the second half. Gavin's repping the apparel as he always does, despite the fact it's 70 degrees outside. I'll pass on that.
It's 80 degrees here.
In all seriousness, of course, on the men's side, we got a lot of big games tonight. One right now, Loyola Chicago against Oregon State. Of course, Villanova and Baylor is later on. Syracuse, their Cinderella story continues against the number 2 Houston. Oral Roberts' Cinderella story continues against number 3 Arkansas. And then tomorrow we have Gonzaga going up against Creighton and a couple of other notables. Of course, on the women's side tonight, we have both Michigan and Baylor. They actually start in about 15 minutes. And then the 1 NC State and Indiana, and the 2 Texas A&M against Arizona at 8 o'clock tonight. It is March. It is madness. It is the Sweet 16. As always, I'm joined alongside my co-host, Gavin Tony. Gavin, how are you doing today?
Zach, I'm doing great. Listen, my day started off fantastic. Right, last night we had family over, and this morning we woke up really early to go get some cheesecakes. Now, Zach, not steaks, cheesecakes. There's a place in North Philadelphia that I go to. I call the Cheesecake Lady. Zach, me, we went to take an adventure up there. We got to get there really early. And then to come home and watch the Huskies dominate, I feel great today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, disclaimer, it's like 90 degrees in my room. Don't ask why this is on. It's a really special occasion. You'll find out why. But, Zach, how you doing?
Doing good. Happy to be here again. It's our second time going live here on the weekend, but I'm excited to do it anyways. Here it is Saturday, March 27th here in 2021. But, hey, it takes a lot to get us here on the week. I'm just kidding. We love our job. We love doing this. But in all seriousness, let's talk about it. We'll start off with the first game that we had an opportunity to watch today. That was the UConn Huskies up against Iowa. Iowa coming into this game after a big win last week in the round of 32. They go up today. Both teams putting up a really good fight. 2 true freshmen on opposite sides. A lot of mutual respect among the two of them, but it was Connecticut who came up on top with a 20-point win by a score of 92-72. Take a look at Iowa's side first. Of course, Caitlin Clark has been the talk of the league after her buzzer beater the other night. Unfortunately, coming up short, 21 points for her, 5 assists and 3 rebounds on that side as well. McKenna Warnock, 20 points for them. Quite a good game for them statistically wise. Not anything to be ashamed of. You're playing against a really dominant team. When you have Williams scoring 27, and of course Paige Becker's on triple-double watch, unfortunately coming short in a few areas, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 18 points, it gets the job done. They had 4 players in double figures with at least 17 points. Taking a look at some of the stats, 55% from the field, 44% from 3. There's not much you can do. They got out-rebounded. Iowa did by 15. The assist totals were not even close. Blocks were similar stats, and then, of course, turnovers as well, 12 to 15. Not too big of a difference. The big thing I see here, Gavin, is this. Both sides shot from 3 really well, 41% for Iowa, 44% for UConn. The field goal percentage is where we saw a big difference, 43% to 55%. However, UConn had 73 field goal attempts. Iowa, only 60. Why that might be? Well, again, the offensive glass is the difference. 15 offensive boards to only 8. That's an effort thing. UConn wanted this game more. UConn showed they're the better team. They showed their dominance, and now they move on to they said 15th straight Elite Eight, Gavin, if I heard that correctly.
Oh, that's correct.
A team that continues to live up to expectations. I'll say this. It's kind of like the Golden State Warriors a few years ago when they beat the Cavs in that 4-game sweep. You kind of expected it to happen. You see these teams with such dominance, and it's like, okay, this is the best team in the league. Don't screw up, essentially. It's nice to see the teams that you know are supposed to be the best ultimately playing like they're the best. And I think we're seeing that in the UConn Huskies again. A lot of teams out there to be concerned of. NC State, again, playing tonight. We'll see how that fares out for them. There's still a few other 1 seeds in it, of course, Texas A&M. If they are to win tonight, Stanford plays tomorrow. South Carolina, who we know has given them trouble in the past. This is going to be an interesting one to take a look at. So I'm not going to write off UConn as an instant favorite in the finals. I know they've been for most brackets. But, again, it's only the Elite Eight. You got to take it one game at a time. They're only 3 in so far, but step in the right direction, winning by 20 against a team who had a very emotional win just earlier this week with the buzzer beater. I mean, this is going to be an interesting one to watch. But, again, the 1 seeds are all still around, and chances are if you don't play them in the Final Four, you're going to play them in in the final itself in early April.
Zach, first of all, coming into today's game, UConn has scored 100 points in the paint. Zach, they love the paint. That's where they thrive their best. I mean, Zach, you saw it today, whether it was Aaliyah Edwards down low or Olivia Nelson Odota down low or just in transition. They always get to the paint and they score. Now, you talk about triple-double watch. Zach, one rebound off of your Ravina Westbrook, you were about to make history. You would have been the second player, and correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, she would have been the second player in the NCAA tournament to have a triple-double. Sadly, she fell short of one rebound, but Zach, I'm not mad. She had 17. But let's talk about Kristen Williams. She came out, looked like a slow start for Kristen Williams, but then, Zach, you text me and said when it rains, it pours. Zach, it was raining. She kept dropping threes repeatedly. At halftime, she had 15 points at halftime, leading the team. And then, but let's go early in the game where you had Aaliyah Edwards down low, getting the team started with the spark, the freshman out of Canada. Zach, this team is all freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. There's no senior in here. There's no senior influence in here, unless you want to say Gino Ariema, because he technically is a senior. He's 60, 65, 66 years old. But Zach, this team plays well together, and they love playing in fast-paced motion. This is the best I've seen them shoot the ball this whole entire year. And Zach, I watched a lot of games this year. All right, I trust me, I get frustrated a lot because they can't hit their threes. But Zach, they humbled me a lot today. They were able to shoot. They outshot the team. I want to say the best shooter alone in Caitlin Clark by 10 to 23. Team, they shot 43% from three today. Zach, and another thing about today's game too is you got to give Kristen Williams credit and the UConn defense credit against Caitlin Clark. Zach, Caitlin Clark was 1 of 7 early, and then she and all of her attempts were from three. Majority of them were. She was 4 from 12 from three. Zach, held to only 21 points. Now, you may look at 21 points and say that's not bad. But, Zach, if you watch the game, those were a struggle, 21. She didn't get those 21 points easily. It looked like at some point she was chucking the ball up and just getting to the free throw line. And, Zach, this team only went to the free throw line, and UConn only went 3 times today. How do you beat a team going to the free throw line 3 times? Well, Zach, they're that damn good. That's why. That's how you did it. That's how you do it. When you have a group or a team that buys into what they believe in and enjoy playing with one another and can work well with one another, anything can happen. And Zach, the argument between Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark, I'm going to end it right here. Zach, yes, Caitlin Clark is a scoring guard. You're going to see her numbers, 35 points, 40 points, all those points. But Paige Beckers is an all-around point guard. She's a pass-first guard. Zach, you saw it today. She had chances where she could have scored and gives it away. Pass-first guards are hard to come so easy. She makes it look so today. She still gets her points. Zach, there was a game where she had 30 points. Today she had 18, 9, and 8. She makes it look really easy, Zach. There's no comparison. I think if you want to compare the two, they're good in their own respective categories, where scoring versus passing. But if you're on the clock, whatever WNBA team on the clock, I gotta go Beckers first.
They're what, 18, 19 years old, the two of them? Combining, they're still younger than LeBron James. And I'll add Carmelo Anthony because Gavin will probably give me some unnecessary credit for pointing out LeBron James, but you get the point. The bottom line is that these are two individuals who are young, talented. The future of women's sports, the future of women's basketball in the WNBA, I think it's safe to say it's in good hands. Of course, because of the eligibility, we get to watch them for at least 2 more years, right? It's 3-year separation from high school still. A discussion that we should definitely have, whether or not we feel, Gavin, I think I know how you feel about the one and done possibly for women's, the WNBA and the NCAA women's tournament. I'm sorry, the whole NCAA women's basketball league. As we know in the NBA, you can be one and done. We're starting to see a couple of different unique paths for men's sports. LaMelo Ball going off to play somewhere else. Luka Doncic playing in the European leagues before coming over and having draft eligibility. I'll ask you that before we go on to talk about the men's side. What are your thoughts on the one and done possibility for women's sports, starting to see these freshmen excel at this level? They're coming in right away, making big impacts and leading their teams on deep into the playoffs.
Well, Zach, if you talk about in the WNBA where it may not be as popular as the college game. Now, you want to talk about a chance to everything about the game. When it comes to the one and done rule, it has to happen. All right, Zach, it has to happen. You got young ladies like Ryan Howard from Kentucky. You got Caitlin Clark from Iowa. You got Paige Beckers and Kristen Williams and Vina Westbrook on UConn. All right. You got Zy Cook and Aaliyah Boston and Destiny Henderson in South Carolina. It's like I can go on. And you got Chelsea Dungy, who will go to the league this year after her 3 years. But I feel like if you would allow the one and done rule, not only are you pumping out fresh young talent to keep the game interesting, to keep the following, to try to boost your brand, because that, all due respect, but the WNBA is not the favorite when it comes to sports leagues around the United States. But this is a one-way start. Look at what the NBA did, Zach, and this is going to pain me to say this, but one of the most successful people in the NBA that came straight out of high school, and Zach, I know it's another topic, but that came straight out of high school, Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, right? Now, Gavin, the conversation is about the one and done rule. But remember, they came in the league around 18, 19. Zach, these young women right here are 18, 19. If you bring and look at the pure dominance that Kobe Bryant had and the somewhat dominance that LeBron James had, Zach, if you let these young women come out at 18, 19 and change the game and start rebranding and connect with the younger generation, that will help. That will help a league like the WNBA. And the one and done rule, that will help NCAA, because Zach, you paying people, you're wasting your time, especially in football. Zach, that's another place where you really got to think about it.
I think football is a little different as some players still mature and grow, but basketball certainly there's not much you can really do from the growth perspective. You're done growing. You're not going to get bigger. If you're a offensive lineman in high school, you got to get bigger to compete in college and figure out if it's worth it. So I think in the NFL, I like the 3 year after high school eligibility for the draft. WNBA should definitely reevaluate the one and done rule. NCAA, I think that should be something to be looked at because, like you said, Gavin, this could be something that connects the younger generation. They're interested in watching these girls play this sport at this age, and then when they go to the WNBA, keep track of their careers. Zion came out 19 years old as he made his debut. LeBron James was 18. Carmelo was 20, 21 maybe. He spent a few years at Syracuse. I think for a lot of these players, and Kobe Bryant as well, 18 years old in his debut. It's quite fun to watch these players at their young ages. With that being said, Gavin, anything else you want to say on this topic before we begin to transition over and talk about the men's side of the Sweet 16?
Yeah, real quick, Zach, we got to go back to Texas A&M the other night, Texas A&M versus Iowa State. Station off the show. The ending of the game was fantastic. It was a close game through the whole time. If you're Iowa State and you have a chance to knock off a 2 seed that won the SEC championship versus South Carolina, Zach, and Jordan Nixon just at the end of the game just said, I'm going to win it. And she did, Zach. That was a crazy ending. And in words of Jordan Nixon, she said, my team trust her. And Zach, clearly they do, because in my honest opinion, I would have called a timeout. I'll be honest with you. It didn't look like it was going to be a great ending to that play when she first started. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Just let them play.
For sure. Well, look, bottom line here, as we wrap up, there are a lot of 1 seeds to play and still in play besides just UConn. Of course, we have Stanford, South Carolina, and NC State all still in it. And another cool fact, the highest seed remaining is a 6. On the men's side, it's the 15 seed. With that being said, that's going to transition us as we talk about the men's side of the NCAA tournament. After this, stay tuned.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
Welcome back here on the More Than Philly Sports Network as we continue our conversation about March Madness. It is March 27th, almost done the month of March, but it doesn't mean that March Madness has yet to end. We're only at the Sweet 16, and we have quite the interesting games this year going into today. The highest seed remaining is a 15. It is Oral Roberts. They play Arkansas tonight at 7:25. Before we do get to that game, we'll focus on just today's games. We'll recap tomorrow's games during some of our shows during the week. But, Gavin, let's start with Loyola Chicago and Oregon State. I'm not sure if you saw our good friend Dom had posted on his story today referring to the best defense in the nation. I did not know who it was quite at the moment. I looked it up. It was Loyola Chicago. they have the best defense in the entire tournament. So should it be a surprise that they're here? They got on the map a few years ago when they went to the Final Four. That's probably helped them with recruiting. They have a phenomenal coach. They're the 8th seed, and they currently lead Oregon State by a score of 14-13 after coming off of an emotional win against the number 1 Illini just last week in the round of 32. Gavin, I'll switch it over to you. Are you shocked that Loyola Chicago's here, or do you think they deserve more respect and they're just a better team than people thought?
Zach is a mixture of both. Listen, when you have a school like Loyola Chicago that has a reputation of, going to the Final Four before, it shouldn't become as an upset. Remember, Zach, we talked about how a lot of the Illinois rejects that didn't get a chance to play at Illinois end up at Loyola Chicago. So it's basically, the Illini times 2, really, or part 2, or version 2, whatever you want to call it. But Zach, I'm gonna say it's both. I am surprised they're here because Zach, they did beat a 1 seed. In favor of the 1 seeds, as always, everybody's going to be the underdog versus 1 seed. But when it comes to do they deserve respect? Of course they do. Zach, you beat the 1 seed. It's an upset. All right. I don't want to say it's just because of March. I mean, they are out here. They are winning games. They are recruiting people. They are getting people. But no one expected this from them. I'll be honest. I thought they were going to go home that day.
Their first game was expected to win in the round of 64, but you go up against Illinois in the second round, it's supposed to be game over. Illinois choked that game. I don't think there's anything special about Loyola, but give them a lot of credit to their defense. They're big. He's got a lot of energy, great rebounder, been very productive for them. I was watching the beginning of the game upstairs when I was prior to prepping and getting ready for the show today, but he was getting boards and got a second opportunity. They made a 3 on that. So don't underrate that. Again, current score 16-13 Loyola, leading Oregon State, who had an upset win of their own last week. But we'll continue with it against the 12 seed versus the 8 seed. Loyola actually favored in that game, given that they are the lower seed. The next game on our list scares me an awful lot because it is Gavin and myself's team winning it all. Our brackets could be busted tonight. Villanova has been phenomenal. They have shown their veteran experience. They have shown their great coaching. But hold on a minute. They got 2 of their best scorers out for the season. I get that. But they've taken down some teams that maybe they weren't necessarily expected to lose to, but they took them down handily. And when you do that, you go against the best team in the country, in my opinion, in Baylor. You can put Gonzaga in that conversation, but Baylor has been crushing teams as well. Yeah, it's going to be a close one tonight. I'm going to take Baylor. I think it's going to be a very close game till the end, but Baylor ultimately will pull away at the end of the game. But again, as a Philly fan, how could you not root for Villanova?
Well, Zach, I can tell you how you don't root for Villanova when your bracket's on the line. Of course, you don't want to root for Villanova. All right, that's it's simple. Listen, Zach, when your 2 best scorers go down, it's hard to pick the team that moves on, the team that does anything. Zach, when you got a team that was ranked 3rd in the nation and you lose a couple games, and all of a sudden you go from 3 to I forget how far they dropped. Zach, it was a lot. It wasn't too terrible. It was a lot, and you don't win the Big East tournament either. Everybody writ off Nova. I don't want to say they writ off Nova as one and dones, but they writ them off to a certain point. There's no way they beat Baylor tonight. Zach, I know we have a strong Villanova following that watches our show. We don't want to make you mad, but we do have Baylor moving on and hopefully winning it all for our brackets. But, I mean, if their 2 scorers were here in Gillespie, it would be a different story. I don't see it happening. It's over for Villanova and the Wildcats. It's better like next year.
They're going to put up a good fight. I will say that if they don't win tonight, they will put up a good fight and they will scare Baylor. Baylor's been playing a little close with some teams. They haven't been fully blowing them out, but it's going to be a good game tonight. I can tell you that right now, and I'll be watching because, I got like 5 or 6 teams. I'm in like 10th place right now, but like 7 or 8 of the 10 teams above me don't have Baylor. They either have Illinois and they're already out, or they have Houston, or they have, I think, Gonzaga as well. So there's only 3 teams, including myself, that can win it all with Baylor winning. So praying. We're going to see how it goes. I'll keep you all updated on that. And then, of course, the final 2 games tonight, we'll start with Oral Roberts and Arkansas. Oral Roberts turned heads. They beat Ohio State. Their magical run is over, though, 15 seed in the Sweet 16. It was nice, but Arkansas is going to take care of business tonight. I expect it to be a pretty easy win for Arkansas.
Oral Roberts, I like, the Cinderella story. I like what they did. It's like
right now, there we go. There, Gavin.
Yeah. But Zach, it's over. Oral Roberts, they were the Evanston Christian. It's over for Oral Roberts. Zach, nice little fun story, nice little laugh, nice little scare, but it's over. It's time to get down to business. Arkansas moves on easy.
Yeah, no doubt, taking down Ohio State. As a Penn State fan, I'm happy about that. And then the final one that we'll go over today, they'll just recap briefly the games that are going to be tomorrow. Syracuse and Houston. Houston's been playing very close to teams, but Syracuse, the only reason they're still in it is because they've been shooting insane beyond the arc. That comes to an end as well tonight. The Elite Eight's going to start seeing a more realistic look at what we all expected. I'm going to take Houston tonight over Syracuse.
Zach, let me see if I get this right. Bo Boeheim, right? Did I say that right? I said that right? Boeheim, right? Bo Boeheim is the reason why Syracuse is still in here. He's shooting out this wall right now. It's like he's shooting the lights off.
Keep an eye on him in the NBA in a few years. The next Duncan Robinson, potentially kind of an unsung hero, good sharpshooter.
Sixers, please, by any means possible. I don't care how you do it. No, but look, Bo Boeheim is the reason why the coach's son, Jim Boeheim, is the reason why Syracuse and a couple other guys, but his shooting is really out of this world. Zach, I think it ends tonight. Bo Boeheim will have a nice game, but Houston's just a phenomenal team. Zach, they're playing great basketball. They might be playing a little bit scarce, giving people a little bit of heart attack, but Zach, I don't see them losing.
Yeah, we'll have to see the 2 seed. Some people have them winning as well, so I'm not fully opposed to Syracuse winning tonight because it would wreck people's brackets ahead of mine.
Anything but a Baylor loss, Zach. That's all we need. Anything but a Baylor loss.
Anything but a Baylor loss. That is 100% true. But tomorrow's games, Creighton and Gonzaga, is going to be a fun one to watch. Right? We'll go over predictions again. We'll recap these games on Monday. But Gonzaga and Creighton, Florida State and Michigan, UCLA and Alabama, and then Oregon and USC. That's a 7 and a 6 seed. Going to be an interesting one. And then, of course, Monday will begin the Elite Eight. Tuesday we'll wrap it up. And then Saturday, the Final Four. And next Monday, April 5th, we'll be taking care of the finals. For those who are interested in continuing to watch, here are picks and more. Make sure you stay tuned. Subscribe to the network. Follow us on Facebook so that we can continue to give you the most updates on the sports world.
Zach, I'm gonna say something right now, and we're going to revisit it on Monday. I could be right, could be wrong. A 1 seed won't make it out alive tomorrow, and it's going to be between Michigan and Gonzaga. I think Michigan goes down tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Michigan definitely could be the team to take a look at.
A team that should be on upset alert watch. It's definitely Michigan. Zach, Gonzaga's strong.
They're playing a 4 seed.
They're playing a 4 seed. They're playing a strong FSU team. But Zach, go back to the last game versus LSU. LSU had them scared for a little while. Michigan was down. Zach, we were sitting here and we cut the show off and went to go put the game on. But Michigan's going to be the next one out. I like what Juwan Howard's done with the team and the program, but it's over.
I do have another person ahead of me that does it in Michigan. See, I got them all memorized. I got everybody's potential winners memorized above me. It's been a couple of days. The players been practicing, going to class during the week, of course, so not playing during the week. Some people who are new to this, I had to explain that concept to. They don't understand why there aren't games on during the week. But before we wrap up today, we do have a couple of extra minutes we'll spend. Yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks falling to the Boston Celtics last night, moving them back a little bit. James Harden going off in a barely win for the Brooklyn Nets against the Detroit Pistons, given there's no Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. Blake Griffin went off for 17 points and a slam dunk on an alley-oop, also stared down the Detroit Pistons bench. Blake Griffin could become that final piece for Brooklyn. I don't think it's defensively, but certainly another offensive factor to give to them. Gavin, I'll ask you this question before we get to the 76ers game tonight and some predictions for it. James Harden said that he is the MVP of the league. Gavin, what are your thoughts on those comments?
Well, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it, Zach. Now, regardless of what happened early in the season, how he handled his business, trying to get out of Houston, I know I wasn't a fan of it. Zach, we had our opinions on it. But ever since he's got to Brooklyn, he's been a walking triple-double or near triple-double. And he's been there every night. He's played almost every game since he's joined the team. And he showed up every night. Zach, he deserves to be in the conversation. Look, if they're putting LeBron James in the conversation, he sure as heck deserves to be in here.
I'm not, even coming from me, I'm not quite sure why LeBron's in the conversation. Joel Embiid fell to 5. LeBron James is 3 right now.
But I will say this. Is James Harden the MVP? No. Once again, you got to take a look at the 2 others that are playing. Well, really the 1 other that's playing with you. My MVP still stands as Joel Embiid, regardless of what the public thinks, and because the MVP. And real quick, Zach, before I hand it to you, Why is it when someone gets hurt, we just automatically written what they did off? Like, why does that happen?
It's very you can't, in my opinion, on teams where they have those dynamic duos, the LeBron and ADs, the Harden, Kyrie, and KD, whatever you want to name it. It's hard to give when you have so many dominant scorers on a team. It's kind of hard to give MVP to one of their players. The Sixers are different because Ben Simmons is certainly a superstar, but he's not a scorer. And Joel Embiid's been that guy for them. Let's be honest here, they've gotten really lucky with the schedule. You're playing a weak Lakers team. I don't really want to shoot the Sixers down, but let's just talk about some of their wins. Golden State Warriors, they almost lost that game, and the Warriors are also banged up. Lakers are banged up, barely won that game. Knicks, it's the Knicks. The Kings, it's the Kings. They lost to the Bucks in OT. They barely beat the Knicks before. They crushed the Spurs and then crushed the Wizards. That's, of course, the game where Joel Embiid got hurt. They've been getting really lucky with the schedule, which is good because they've had a tough schedule a lot of the year. They're still a game and a half up over the Nets. But let's talk about tonight then. They're playing against the Los Angeles Clippers. For as far as I know, the Clippers are as healthy as they can be, I expect. I think Rondo will be there tonight and making his debut, assuming that he's still healthy and everything checks out with him COVID testing-wise, etc. In LA, Shake Milton went off last time. Tobias Harris revenge game. Shake Milton wants to back up his performance. And, of course, a Doc Rivers revenge game. I can't say that I'm going to pick the Sixers, but there's a lot of reasons that the Sixers should win this game tonight, and they're all emotionally driven.
Well, Zach, real quick, going back to your last statement, wouldn't you think that would help Joel Embiid's argument for MVP? They're barely.
It should, but they're looking at the win-loss like, oh, they're 6-1 since he got hurt. Yes, but look at who they're playing.
But for me, I look at how they're winning, which is barely winning. Now, going back to tonight's game, Zach, it's going to be hard to pick the Sixers tonight because of the fact that they're playing a fully healthy team with a guy that just asked to get a point guard who's arguably one of the most underrated passers and point guards in today's game. Zach, Rajon Rondo doesn't get enough respect and credit for what he does and how he can make anyone better. This is a trap game. In all honest, it depends on what Paul George, what Kawhi Leonard, and who's going to be that random guy that goes up against the Sixers. Zach, I could somehow see the Sixers pulling out this game out the mud, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lose. So I don't know. It's going to be hard. I don't know who I'm picking yet.
It's almost over. They play tonight in LA. They play Denver on Tuesday. They play Cleveland on Thursday, and they're home Saturday against the Timberwolves. And Embiid expected to return either Tuesday or a little bit later on. It's been a tough stretch. If they win tonight, they're 2 games up over Brooklyn. That's insane. That's plenty of breathing room as Embiid returns to the lineup. The 1 seed is the Sixers for the taking at the moment. They have the second best record in the entire league. Just taking a look at the Nets here as they have a game Monday against Portland at home. Monday against Minnesota at home. And then they play against Houston at home, Charlotte at home, Chicago, New York. Their schedule's pretty easy coming up. So the Sixers need to continue to sustain this. With that being said, I will have the Clippers winning tonight in a close one, but a high offensive game similar to last year in LA. Ben Simmons has to step up tonight as well as a scorer. I expect Tobias Harris, Seth Curry. Danny Green's got to continue to back his efforts up as he continues to try to make his mark as a significant scorer on this team. And Doc Rivers, coach like heck tonight. This is the team that fired you last year. You're up against your assistant, Tyronn Lue, tonight. Go shut him down. Go do the job.
Well, for me, I think I speak for both of us when I say this. I'm going to go with the Clippers, but I really want the Sixers to win. I think I speak for both of us when I say that. Look, the keys for tonight's game is, one, Doc Rivers, you got the coach like you. Something was stolen from you. You hired Tyronn Lue to be your assistant coach. He's the head coach of your former team. And Sam Cassell, this is your so, just act like there's no tomorrow. And Zach, you're right. Danny Green is going to have to be the guy that steps up again and shows why he's here. But once again, I'm going to put it on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has to be the scorer. Ben Simmons can give any team problems. I highly doubt that Kawhi Leonard's going to be on Ben Simmons. I could be wrong.
That'll be a fun matchup to watch as well, who Ben Simmons will pick up. It should be a fun one. Obviously, the interior is not going to be that existent for the Sixers, given they don't have any scoring bigs. Dwight Howard's technically the only big B-ball. Paul, of course, will be there as well. That will be a fun one to watch. With that being said, everybody, as we get to the top of our half hour, we want to thank you all for watching us today. We appreciate it. As always, second time, the More Than Philly Sports Network on the weekend. Gavin, anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, two quick things. One, Zach, what was that Thursday night? Lakers, Sixers. Dwight Howard shoves Montrezl Harrell and he's ejected. Zach, this is a soft era we're talking. Zach, I can't even poke you, and I'm going to get ejected and probably suspended for 8 games. It's soft. The refs need to stop ruining these games, and I get it. You don't want a fist fight to break out, but Zach, it's absurd how quick he got bounced. And finally, Zach, go Huskies. I'll see you in the Elite Eight. Zach, come join me.
Without a doubt, let's go Baylor tonight. With that being said, thank you so much for watching us today. We'll see you on Monday.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts